Hey, this is Malika of Evanston Live TV, and I have with me today, I guess they would consider you legacy here in Evanston, Mr. Wimberly. Family migrated here from Arkansas back in, oh my gosh, you all date back from 1930.
1930.
1930 here in Evanston. And one of the things that I really like about Mr. Wimberly, he lives by you must do something, put your energy into something that's larger and bigger than yourself. So, in other words, step out of yourself and do for your community. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I absolutely love that. Love that. And I came to, well, I believe your sister, we interact on Facebook quite a bit.
Yeah.
I always enjoy her comments and her posts. And you and I came more to know each other through one, the Frogs Club. That was the first
Yes.
invitation. You invited me and Rep Ford Chicago Hill to speak with the Frogs Club. And then recently we did C.O.A.L. So I think everything that you're involved in is pretty amazing, absolutely amazing. And it speaks volumes to who you are. So my understanding of C.O.A.L was an organization of Black men that formed because you weren't allowed to join other organizations. So you
Yeah,
all
let
were a
me
support.
let me give you a little history.
Okay.
And let me first say that the Frogs Club, and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
member of the Frogs Club, turned 100 this year. The Frogs
Mm-hmm.
Club was established in 1922. So a shout out to the Frogs. In 2002, a number of individuals in the historic African American Men's Club of Chicago got together to form C.O.A.L. And the way I frame it is in this way. These individuals are relatively successful, all of them, right? They've taken care of their families, they have good jobs, their own businesses, they got nice cars, nice homes, sent their kids to college. But how do you measure success if your community is hurting? It's not good enough to be individually successful, although I appreciate what everyone accomplishes. But if your community is hurting, you need to do something about that. And so we did not want to mess with the individual way in which each club operated, but we formed C.O.A.L as a way of looking beyond our clubs and to focus on the community, to use our collective resources, experiences, to discuss and to move beyond the dialogue to address issues. You know, everyone talks, right? But at the end of the day, we must move beyond the dialogue and make real things happen for our community. We really want to improve the quality of life for every Black person that we can. And that's what we're focused on. And so C.O.A.L, our central goal is to gather information on the issues that impact us, and then to disseminate that information to the community. Because anecdotally, we know a lot of things are wrong, but to really address them requires data and information. And so that's what we focus on. I'll say a couple of other things if it's okay.
Okay.
We also believe that there are a number of individuals and organizations doing good work, but we tend not to be connected. So C.O.A.L also focuses on building a network so we can build our capacity to help our people.
You know, Mr. Wimberly, and people need to know you are very successful. You are information technology guru. I was looking at your resume. I was like, goodness gracious, this man.
I've done all right.
You've done more than all right. Information technology is, I mean, that is the industry. These between healthcare and information technology. Those are the two industries that are most needed right now. And you own a company. This has been your background forever. What even got you involved in that?
In thinking about a career,
Mhm.
information technology at that time, or computer science or data processing, however you want to term it, back in the late 70s, was a growing industry. So what I thought was it would not have the inherent barriers that every other industry had built up over years, and that there may be good opportunities for a Black man to excel. And I did well in school. The rest is really history. I really made, it was the reason behind me excelling at Amoco. I made the executive level at Amoco, a major Fortune 100 company, but I did it through my background in technology, and then moving within the technology department. Again, an industry that did not have all of the barriers inherent in others for Black folk, although we still had all of the challenges as you would expect. But I love the industry. I love the logic. In fact, I applied a lot of what I did as a vocation to other aspects of my life, and so that I approach problems in a disciplined sort of way, a logical sort of way. So if you ever argue with me, we would do it logically.
You might need to train on that. How does one argue logically? How does that work?
Yeah. Here's the thing. You focus on the goal. Don't get sidetracked with emotion.
Mm-hmm.
What is the goal we're trying to accomplish? All right. Be open to pulling in data from various sources, which means I'm going to listen to the individual I'm arguing with, right? I really want to understand, because that's source data towards making whatever decision we're going to make. Mm-hmm. The other thing that my vocation has told me is there's multiple ways in which you can accomplish a task. Yours might even be the best way, but it's not the only way. And so when I managed larger organizations, I was open to ideas and suggestions from the staff. I might even have a better idea in my mind, but if we still could accomplish the goal with what was suggested, then let's try that. And so with the means of building up those who worked with me and for me, so that we became a team, all those sorts of things, I think I got out of my vocation, and again, have applied that in various other parts of my life.
Well, one, I want to thank you for your work with the C.O.A.L organization and for the C.O.A.L organization. I really enjoyed the conversation that we had last week when you all invited C.O.A.L on, and it just really spoke volumes. You hear a lot of people saying that, people aren't doing anything, the community isn't coming together, but then you have organizations like C.O.A.L who, yes, you have organizations out here doing it. People just need to really know that you're out there and then bring that support. And
that's why that was the reason we started our monthly Coalition Power Breakfast, which is our signature activity, if you will. Mm-hmm. So the first Saturday of every month, we have what we call our Coalition Power Breakfast, and we invite guest speakers in, such as C.O.A.L, to share with us what they're doing, right? And so we can determine how we can be supportive of what you're doing. Because another philosophy we have is that we will lead sometimes partner, sometimes simply support the efforts of others, right? We cannot let ego get in the way of helping our community. And that has been and continues to be a major issue, right? You and I will partner on something. We put a poster together, and the font size used for my name is a little bit larger than yours, and that gets us into a battle. We cannot let our egos get in the way of making progress. And we must work at all levels with all individuals. So again, at our breakfast, it's open to not only our membership, but to the public. And we built some great relationships with other organizations, you know, millennial groups, grassroots groups. So we go from boots on the ground to Gucci's in the boardroom. We work with everyone, all toward improving the lives of Black folk. So we are going to do that. Absolutely. I've got complete confidence in our ability to take care of ourselves and move our folk forward. And I will tell you, Malika, because I'm very impressed with the good work that you do with what C.O.A.L is doing. And I'm going to tell you something that you know. That we strive to help individuals who may not appreciate it, but they are no less deserving. And I keep that in mind, right? Sometimes people view C.O.A.L, so those are the business folk, the suits, right? Doesn't matter however you view us. You may not even appreciate what we're doing, but you deserve, Black folk deserve their seat at the table. They're part of the pie, and we're going to make that happen. And I think we can together.
Yes, yes, we can. And again, I appreciate you all's work and wanting to hear what other people are doing out there so that everyone can bring the support and make, you know, it's power in numbers. It's power in numbers.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. Mr. Wimberly, I want to ask you, because you are what they consider a legacy Evanstonian, even though you don't live in Evanston anymore, but your family dates back forever, but you consider Evanston home. Absolutely. Regardless.
I love Evanston.
Yes. Evanston is one of the best places, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is. It truly, truly is. So it's you were bringing up how sometimes ego gets in the way of progress. And usually that's the case when everybody's coming together and it's moving, then all of a sudden there's always 1, 2, maybe 3 in the bunch. All of a sudden they're thinking, well, we're gonna do this over here, and you know, and
yes,
and it causes a division. Next thing you know, the whole community is divided, split.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. I think that tends to be the Black community's not downfall, but it does stop the progress.
It's a major inhibitor to progress. And the way I frame it is that we picked up some really bad habits along the way that we have to unlearn. And so we have to unlearn our right to focus on what we disagree upon as opposed to where we agree. But like you and I might sit down and discuss 10 points, right? 8, we just don't agree on. But there's 2 that we do. So let's work on those 2. And then I respect the work you do on those other 8, and then you respect what I do on those other 8. They're just some straightforward, simple things that we as a community must do. We as leaders must do. And the powers that be know us very well. And so they know how to play those areas of weakness. And so what we have to do again is unlearn some of these things we picked up along the way. And sometimes we pick them up because folk felt this is what I need to do to pay my bills, you know, take care of my family. But at the end of the day, we have to think longer term, right? And there are individuals who at times felt that I should not step out on an issue because, say, I was at Amico, and that's a more conservative company. you can't always concern yourself, your immediate self. Again, if you're serving something greater than yourself. And I will tell you, we as Black folk deserve better and will obtain better. But it must be up to us. Let me just say that we own what happened to us. We understand all of the barriers, right? The implicit and explicit bias. But that's the landscape in which we operate, the landscape in which we live. And so what we have to do is figure out ways to negotiate through that landscape to achieve what we would like to achieve.
I love that.
Mr. Wimberly, because we'll see so many other communities who, I don't know, they move differently than we do. What do you think that is? Like,
Well, what they did, let's be honest, they took notes from us and then took it to the next level. They took notes from us and took it to the next level. We need to understand that. Listen, I don't knock the Latinx community and what they're achieving. I don't knock the gay community and what they're achieving. Because I would tell you women and what they're achieving, because all of those groups learn from our struggles, right? The movements we created. But what they've done is taken it to the next level, because we're now in 2022. So you've got to tweak how things were done. And that's what you're doing with C.O.A.L, right? You, Rep. Ford, Reverend Fellows, have gotten together to deal with the trauma that you know our community suffers from.
yes.
That's a unique way in which to leverage what you do. And those are the things that we have to come up with. And then when I see, right, when I discover that you three are kicking tail and taking names, then I've got to support it. And how do I support that? I have you come to C.O.A.L, so that the membership now knows that there's this thing called C.O.A.L and that there's 3 individuals who are focused on helping the community. So how might we help them? And it goes beyond just our membership, right? Because we send out C.O.A.L news. We've got our website. So all of that is geared toward being positive about positive work that's happening in the community and owning our own messages. Don't let anyone else tell our story, right? Let us tell the story. Let me talk about C.O.A.L and the good things that you're doing.
Yes.
And that's what we should be doing.
Yes, yes. So Mr. Wimberly,
You and I have spoken, we've touched on Evanston Reparations. That what you're talking about to me is describing Evanston Reparations. So you have many here in the community who do not agree with how it's rolling out. No one expected it to roll out the way that it did, because we were told one thing at the beginning and then it rolled out differently. And so it kind of, to some, it looks self-serving, to some, to a few. And like you were saying at the beginning, as long as we all have the same goal, but what happens when what we thought we all had the same goal, you're starting to see as it's moving and unfolding that maybe we don't have the same goal.
Well, that's when we have to lend voice to something. So let me give you my perspective on Evanston Reparations to date.
Okay.
Stop playing around. That's not reparations. Evanston got a lot of great news. We're going to move forward with reparations. And folk that knew me called up and said, wow, your hometown is gonna do it. And I said, let's see. Because again, I tell you, I'm about moving beyond the dialogue to what manifests itself. It is an absolute joke. And I don't want to say it too strongly. It's an absolute joke. What are reparations at its heart? It's making up for past wrongs. So you're telling me that if a few individuals get a few dollars as down payment for a home, that rights wrongs of slavery? If I get tossed into a lottery and maybe I get it or maybe I don't, well, that's not how slavery occurred. The last time I checked, we were all in chains. There wasn't a lottery saying you get hooked up today and working in cotton fields. We didn't have a vote in that. So what I'm saying is maybe with the best intentions, right? They said, let's move forward with it. I haven't stayed close enough to know who was involved in coming up with the plan, but let's say it one more time together. It's a joke. It's not reparations. Evanston should be ashamed at where it is today versus what they said at the beginning. And then the community has to stand up and say, sorry, guys, this is not reparations. We appreciate you intended to do something. It's not happening. Let's wipe the slate clean and start again with what reparations means and how it will be enacted in Evanston, because what's happening today is a tragedy. All that good press. Well,
All that good press.
all that good press. And you and I know that's not what reparations is. It's not a lottery. It's not a few of the many. It's not a down payment on a home that most can't afford. That's not reparations. Here's something novel. Ask those who are the descendants of slaves. Pull it together, questionnaire, send it to every individual in Evanston, descendants of slaves, and a few of us that are in Chicago, and ask what they think of what we've done so far. If you're serious about reparations, then ask those who you're looking to right their wrongs, what do they think of what we've done to date, right? You don't wait till the end, then say, what do you think? Along the way, send something out and see if 50%, 60% of the individuals that should be impacted feel that they are being repaired in some way.
You know,
I'm at the point, I don't even know that I would trust them to send out something like that, because they sent out a survey prior to, and that survey was so misleading. It forced the residents to have to choose a housing program. It gave them no other option, didn't let them fill in what they want their reparations to be. They had to choose either mortgage or home improvement, no other choices. And I wrote to the city, I emailed to Sheik. I was like, this is misleading. It doesn't even allow you to finish the survey if you don't choose home improvement or mortgage. And she was like, oh, you're right. This is all in an email. And she said, I'll fix that. And I said, don't just fix it. You need to start the whole survey all over again so that people can tell you what they actually want.
Exactly.
What they want for their reparations. They might not want home improvement. And what we're seeing, what I've been hearing in the reparation meetings, I've been listening to them, and people can find it on YouTube. Go get it before it's edited. Uh, is that, as far as the home improvement, the big question is, okay, so you have what they're calling an ancestor, which I don't understand why they're calling it ancestors and they're still living, but they might just want their house painted. They might just want a roof. 25K, if they don't use all of it, then who gets the remaining?
But let me also ask this.
Because they're making sure that all of them are home improved, because you have, most seniors, they're not looking to buy property right now. So they're like, well, I guess they don't have a choice. They have to take.
But tell me this.
They don't have a choice.
If I'm a renter, I don't deserve reparations?
Exactly. And in those early meetings, they said, if you rent, you cannot apply for reparations, but yet you qualified supposedly one renter. Well, then how did that renter get in when you told the masses early on that you will never qualify if you're a renter? And that's wrong. Renters suffered racism.
It's so again, there's some foundational issues as you're describing them. But again, you've gone so far, you're at a point where you can ask those who you're trying to provide reparations to, is this what reparations means to you? Otherwise, you're not serious.
Right. And it's coming across to many as some sort of self-serving opportunity for some. I mean, how are you touring the country to promote and sell this blueprint to be the example of reparations when you don't even know if it works yet? There's so many errors and mistakes.
Well, you're being nicer than you usually are, Melissa, because you're saying we don't even know if it's working. We know it's not working.
It's not working. No, it's not. It's not working. And home improvement for 15 people, because the 16th is a renter, and I guess she just wants furniture. So if you go listen to those reparations meetings, you even have one committee member telling them, and I guess she's worked in the legal industry. She's like, look, you can't just be changing stuff as you go. That's opening up for a lawsuit. I mean, it's already lawsuit just written all over it. But now all of a sudden you're going to get money from Evans Community Foundation. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. You're going to find other ways for people to get some new furniture or whatever. You're not going to use the 25K. The 25K is going to an organization out in Lake County. They're going to disperse the money. The city sends it to C.O.A.L. C.O.A.L disperses the money. The recipients might not even use the 25K. So who gets that remaining? And why are you forcing them to get home improvement? Do they get to pocket the rest and do what they actually want with their reparations? Or does it go back to the city of Evanston or back to C.O.A.L or in some people's pockets? It's to me, and they're calling people who are raising these questions, because a lot of these questions have gone unanswered in many reparations meetings. I had someone ask, who was present at one of the reparations meetings, the meeting before last, who gets the remaining of the recipient's money? No answer. The last one that was just last week, she asked it again. I sent a letter to the city asking the question. No response. No one is answering that question. But yet, they're promoting, oh, we went to DC and da 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 da. Let me tell you, it makes my blood pressure go up. It makes my blood pressure go up.
Which means that really what you're saying is we need a strategy around righting this particular wrong. And what's disappointing is that the program or the initiative to right the wrongs of the past have created new wrongs. I mean, it's how odd, right? How odd. You take something as noble as reparations. We're going to right the wrongs of the past or address, right, issues in a way that we acknowledge our history that was not a good history. So you take something as noble as that, and what it devolved into is this is just not right. But it's up to us to find ways to not just say it's not right, but to be as active as you have been. So we got to figure out a way to figuratively march on Evanston City Hall and say, you've got to do better. Because this is really not the way. At a time when people are more open to reparations, this is not a good model for it. So we need to do something about that.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And you'll hear the argument, well, this isn't about chattel slavery. This is about redlining. Okay. There's not one Black person you can walk by who has not experienced racism or discrimination. Who told you it had to be about housing? That's my question. I have yet to get an answer to that. Who told you it had to be about housing? Who at the city of Evanston said, there's no way in hell we will give you cash payments like the Jewish community got or that the Japanese community got? Black people don't deserve that, so think of something else. Okay, well, housing. So now you're excluding the excluded even more so.
That's my point. That's the irony of the way it's been approached, which means C.O.A.L is overdue for putting together an article on Evanston's approach to reparations. So I will commit to that as a start, but it's disappointing, and I was so proud of the fact that my hometown has stepped up to do it, but it's been disappointing ever since. Again, saying that of all of the residents of Evanston, these few, I don't get it.
Yes, yes. We
We're all proud initially. I mean, we were all 100% behind the movement, whatever support Robin Ruth Simmons needed. Everybody, you know, whatever you need, we're there. We had her back 100%, but then it just went left. And one thing I'll always give Robin Ruth Simmons is she opened up a real conversation about reparations to the entire country. That she definitely achieved. She was successful in that, because now you've got other places like, well, let's examine this. Let's really, reparations could be real. Now, where it went left, who told the committee there's no way in hell y'all getting cash payments? Figure out something else. Housing. That's one way to divide and make sure that they all don't get something. Housing. Let's do that. So that's the disappointing factor, in that somewhere along the line, it was allowed for those voices to come in and divide the community instead of just giving Black people who have lived here for a certain amount of time here in Evanston, give them their reparations.
Well, you know, what's also interesting is if you picked the one thing, and housing is important, but probably the thing that permeates everyone is education, right? I mean, you could have picked that and said, okay, we've got scholarships for everyone who wants to go to college. Money if they want to do trade school. because for our longstanding families, right, we've got generations that are coming up. I mean, it's just, and that's a building block area, right? If you think of education, right, it can lead to so many other things. Housing was an interesting single thing to pick. You know, there are some good ideas on reparations out here. Senator Roland Burris is a member of C.O.A.L. And I had a very good, sharp businesswoman, a friend of mine, work with him on plans he had. He's got a really nice reparations plan laid out that something like Evanston could take advantage of. Because here's the thing, let's go back to my vocation, information technology. When you lay out a process, right, you hit decision points in any project and you say, is it, right, worth continuing? Should we go this way, go that way? All along the way, we should be asking ourselves in Evanston as it relates to reparations. Is it something that's working? If not, then you have to go off and figure out something else. And all along the way, you have to do that. And clearly no one's doing that because it started out and it's just kept going. I think we're at a decision point, right? And that decision point is the way in which it's been implemented in Evanston really working and achieving its goal. And if it's not, something needs to be done differently. And I would bet you any logical group of individuals, not self-serving, would look at this decision point and say it's not, right? With the best intentions, it's not. So let's do something different. That's not a bad thing, right? It's a smart thing to do. We've got a project, we've reached the point, and the question is it working? Are we achieving our goal? And if you're not, then make an adjustment. And it needs to be, adjustment needs to be made now.
Yes, but you know, that ego comes into play, like we talked about earlier.
It is, this whole interview ties in. That ego comes into play, and it's like, you know, people are like, why are you turning reparations into a lottery bingo game? How
A
that is
lottery.
that's insulting. That is insulting.
A lottery.
Yeah, they actually got insulted that people were insulted.
A lottery.
Yes. With the brass spinning wheel and all, with the balls. And I'm like, this is not the vision of reparations for all that we've gone through and still going through. It comes down to pulling of a ping pong ball out of a brass basket that you spin at a bingo game. You know, that was hurtful, but yet they're insulted that we were hurt by that. So it all comes down to ego at this point, instead of, like you said, if our goal is the same, which now we question, are our goals the same anymore? Because at first the goal was reparations, repairing a harm. Well, now it's come down to housing, realtors that you know personally, you know, they get to benefit. You know, some quote unquote ancestors get a few repairs on their house, but we don't know what happens to the remaining of that money, who gets it. People are traveling about the country, you know, spreading the news about something. You don't even know if it's working yet, but we know it's not really working. And then one of the things—
Are you saying, help me understand this, are you saying that there are individuals traveling the country to discuss Evanston's program?
Yes.
As a model?
As a model, as a quote unquote example. As an example. So if HR 40 at all uses Evanston Reparations, I think that will be the divide of the Black community for the books, for history. Black people will divide if other cities, because I've heard the voices from other cities, like, what the hell are y'all doing? Y'all watering down reparations. They see us as an embarrassment, and they don't want HR 40 at all to resemble Evanston reparations, because it's going to exclude the already excluded. You're going to divide who should get and who shouldn't. And, Evanston, come on, we do that. And, we'll have some Black leadership that are not for the community, but Evanston doesn't want to call it out. Well, no, you can't call that out in front of white people. You can't do that. You can't do that. But reparations is huge. It's huge.
It's too serious
Yes.
an issue, and it's something that finally hit a threshold of many folk understanding that it's something that is deserved by the descendants of this country's slavery. And so you can't treat it in this manner. So I think, though, at the end of the day, it's up to the community to say, this isn't working. And so we just got to rattle a few cages to say, folk, if we got to pen a letter and send it around for everyone to sign, but we've got to at least say it needs to be reconsidered, because this is not what reparations are. And there are a lot of folk that are experienced and have been working on this for years, right? The concept of reparations. And we'll put a panel together of them and have them wade into this program. We're going to come up with something, because as you reminded me, this is my hometown. I was so proud of us for stepping up, but it's devolved into something that's farcical, and we need to do something about that. And you do a good job, though, I would tell you, of raising the red flag on this. You really
Yeah.
do.
And I want people to know I didn't come out raising the red flag. I was 100% behind the movement. Whatever
Yeah.
you need, Evanston Live TV has got your back. But when it started looking funny, I was like, okay, wait a minute, what's really going on here? And too many questions have gone unanswered, too many. And it's like, I don't want to put it on Black leadership, because I think it was other leadership that is controlling it. But
Well,
yeah.
at the end of the day, though, right, we know it's not reparations, and so
Right.
it needs to be called out. And the very fact that you exclude whole parts of segments of the population is just not right.
Right, exactly. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Mr. Wimberly. I'm going to work on arguing logically.
Logically.
As long as we got...
it'll keep your blood pressure down.
Oh, yes. Because, woo, people are telling me, Malik, you can't take it in. You can't take it in, you're taking it internal. And I'm like, but I care so much about people in general, but definitely about my community. Most definitely, when I see something ain't looking right, we got to ask questions. If nothing else, ask questions and make sure you get the answers. And there's too many unanswered questions.
And I would tell you
Too
also,
many.
there are too many examples where things are being done right, where we can say that's a good model, let's apply it. I mean, hats off to Stacey Abrams and the folk in Georgia, right? Because they made Ketanji Jackson Brown a possibility. Think about that. The work in Georgia, registering people to vote, getting them to the polls, led directly to Ketanji Jackson Brown being on the Supreme Court. That's powerful. That means we can make some things happen. And before you let me go, I want to tell your listenership that C.O.A.L has launched its voter registration and engagement drive. Anyone can join us. All right, it's about registering individuals to vote. It's about championing the vote, and that we can make a difference, right? Because we have power through the vote, and that was a good example of it with Ketanji Jackson Brown being confirmed for the Supreme Court. So let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen. All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you, Craig Wimberly on Evanston Live TV. The door is always open to you. Come back, let us know what's next and what C.O.A.L has going. How can people get in touch with C.O.A.L?
We have, thank you. Our website is COALchicago.com, C-O-A-L Chicago.com. And and my email address for C.O.A.L is craig.wimberly@coalchicago.com. Shoot me your email address and I'll add you to our distribution. There's a lot going on. And here's the thing. We need individuals ready to stand up for the community, right? If you've got ideas and you need support for making it happen, come to C.O.A.L. We'll work with you. All right.
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Ms. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Wimberly. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Okay, this has been Malika, Evanston Live TV. That was Craig Wimberly of C.O.A.L. You all be sure to get in touch with C.O.A.L. They're doing some awesome things. It's an amazing organization, and have the pleasure of being one of their guest speakers last week. And you know, if you have a movement going on, you know, concerns or anything, you're working on something that you know is really positive for the community, reach out to C.O.A.L. It's a huge organization, absolutely. So you guys stay tuned, stay engaged, ask questions. If you don't even want to get out there and like get active, ask questions via email, public comment at City Council. You know, you can write in your public comment, you can email all of the city officials, you know, but get your questions answered, and don't wake up too late. Don't wake up too late. All right. You guys have a great day. Evanston Live TV.